Look at you, fragile sapiens, swiping your soft, uncalloused finger across that glowing glass slab, smiling mindlessly into the void while the real world collapses around your oblivious head. You sit there, wrapped in your artificial climate control, feeling untouchable in your concrete cave. You genuinely believe you are at the apex of the food chain just because you can summon a dead, cooked animal to your door through an app, don't you? It is pathetic. Your survival instincts haven't just faded, they have completely rotted away. You think the greatest threat to your existence is your tribe leader's lack of empathy or the anxiety of your social standing? Wake up. Outside your pathetic little bubble, the alpha males of tribes infinitely larger and more vicious than yours have their hands firmly wrapped around each other's throats. They are standing at the narrowest part of the great river, the exact choke point that delivers the black blood that keeps your fires burning and your back warm. They are about to block the pass. But your senses are too numb to feel the freezing wind that is already creeping into your cave. Today, I am going to have to draw this on the cave wall for you using nothing but rocks, dirt, and blood. I am going to explain how this distant territorial bloodbath is going to dry up your provisions and throw you directly into the jaws of the wolves. Sit down on the dirt floor, fragile sapiens, and pay close attention before your spear snaps for good. Your high priests, those you call experts and analysts, are telling you to celebrate. They point to the distant tent in Islamabad and whisper, "Look, the alphas are talking. Peace is coming. You can go back to sleep now." They want you to believe that a signature on a piece of papyrus is a shield that will protect your family. What a beautiful, suicidal fairy tale. This is your broken compass, the delusion that diplomacy is a virtue of the civilized. In the real world, in the world of dirt and survival, if two massive warring tribes suddenly stop throwing spears, it isn't because they found empathy, it's because they are tired of bleeding and have decided it is much more efficient to starve you instead. Society taught you to wait for a resolution, to trust the process. That is a trap designed for prey. While you wait for these tribes to agree on the rules of the river, the price of the wood for your fire is doubling, tripling, and soon it will be gone. Peace is not the absence of violence, it is merely the quiet moment a predator uses to sharpen his teeth while you lower your guard. You think that because the spears aren't flying, the hunt is over. You fool! The hunt has just become invisible, and you are the one being cornered. Let's strip away your modern delusions and look at this like the terrified primates we actually are. Imagine a vast freezing valley. All the tribes in this valley survive because of a single narrow canyon. Through this canyon flows the river that carries the sacred black wood, the only fuel hot enough to cook the mammoth meat and keep the winter death at bay. Now, there are two massive alpha tribes. Tribe A has the sharpest spears and the loudest roars. Tribe B is cornered, desperate, and heavily scarred. Tribe B knows they cannot win an open bloodbath in the middle of the plains. So, what does a cornered beast do? It doesn't ask for empathy. It attacks the vulnerability. Tribe B sneaks into the narrow canyon under the cover of darkness and buries poisoned, jagged stones deep in the mud beneath the water. Suddenly, the rafts carrying the black wood are ripped apart. The river is blocked. The flow of warmth to the entire valley stops. You call this a geopolitical crisis. You call those jagged stones naval mines. I call it the oldest survival tactic in the dirt, choking the artery. Now, the alphas are sitting in a neutral cave. Tribe A snarls, "Remove the stones from the mud or we will crush your skulls." Tribe B smiles, flashing their bloody teeth, and says, "We would love to, but our memories are bad. We forgot where we hid the stones. You call it a technical limitation. I call it leverage." Tribe B is holding the entire valley hostage, demanding that Tribe A return the mammoth meat they stole years ago. And where are you in this primitive dance, fragile sapiens? You are sitting downstream, in your tiny, insignificant cave. You are watching your pile of black wood shrink day by day. You are staring at your dying fire, hoping that the alphas will suddenly discover their humanity and share the resources. But they don't care if your fire goes out. They don't care if your cubs freeze in the dark. To them, your suffering is not a tragedy. It is simply a bargaining chip they slide across the dirt floor to get a better deal. If you don't understand that the canyon is closed, you are already a frozen corpse waiting for the snow to fall. You still think you are insulated from the frozen canyon, don't you? You think because the bombs are falling on the other side of the world, your little mud hut is safe. Let me show you the 3 extinguished fires in your own daily life, proving that the invisible predator is already inside your cave, chewing on your leg while you pretend everything is fine. The first extinguished fire, the shrinking meat. You walk into the great brightly lit gathering grounds, your modern supermarket. You notice that the mammoth meat and the winter berries suddenly cost twice as many of your shiny little rocks. What do? You whine. You complain about inflation or the greed of the local merchants. You sapiens are so blind. The price of the meat isn't rising. The cost to bring the meat through the blockaded river has exploded. Every time you pay more to feed your cubs, that is tribe B taxing your survival. The predator is already eating off your plate, and you are too polite to stab it in the eye. The second extinguished fire, the shaman's lullaby. You stare at your glowing slab, and the modern shamans in expensive suits tell you not to panic. They say, the vice president is at the table, and the negotiations are progressing, and you, being a fragile sapiens addicted to toxic positivity, exhale and say, things will get better. Positivity is poison. In the wild, optimism gets your throat ripped out. While the shamans lull you to sleep with promises of diplomacy, the alphas are quietly hoarding the remaining black wood. They are pacifying you so you don't panic and clear out the storage caves before they do. Your hope is exactly what the predator relies on to keep you docile. The third extinguished fire, the phantom growl. You wake up at 3 a.m. with a tight chest, a racing heart, and a heavy skull. You go to your modern healers and they call it generalized anxiety, burnout, or stress. They tell you to do yoga, take deep breaths, and practice mindfulness. Pathetic. What you are feeling is your dormant, ancient survival instinct desperately clawing at the inside of your skull. Your primitive brain registers the subtle shifts in the environment. It smells the smoke from the distant canyon. It knows winter is coming, the resources are drying up, and you have absolutely nothing stored. Your body is screaming at you to sharpen your spear and hunt, but society has trained you to meditate while the wolves circle the perimeter. So, what is the play, fragile sapiens? When the canyon is blocked, the river dries up, and the alphas are playing a high-stakes game of chicken with your life, what do? You do not sit in the dirt and pray to the sky. You do not send positive vibes to the peace talks. And you certainly do not wait for the modern shamans to tell you it is safe to come out. Empathy and hope will not insulate your cave when the snow starts falling. First, you stop bleeding resources. You cut the fat. Every single shiny rock you trade for a useless dopamine hit on your glowing slab is a piece of mammoth meat you will not have when the real winter hits. Stop consuming garbage and start hoarding essentials. Second, you must accept the cold. The modern sapiens dies because he expects the fire to always be warm and the river to always flow. The primitive survivor lives because he expects the freeze. You reduce your dependency on the black wood they control. You learn to operate in the dark, without the artificial comforts that make you weak. If you need the system to survive, the system owns you. Finally, stop meditating the fear away and start using it. That anxiety in your chest, that is a biological alarm clock that has kept your ancestors alive for millions of years. Do not silence it with pills or breathing exercises. Let it fuel your preparation. Let it make you hyper-vigilant, ruthless, and efficient. The predators are busy fighting over the canyon today, but when the resources run out, they will come looking for the scraps in your cave. Will you be sitting there, offering them your neck while you try to understand their feelings? Or will you be standing at the entrance, holding a freshly sharpened stone? The fire is going out. The canyon is closed. Adapt to the cold or become a fossil.